All right, and we are live.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another segment of the It Works Man Zoom. I'm Rob Dawson. I have my partner in crime, Corey Garrison here. How you doing tonight, Corey?
Doing fantastic, Rob. How's it going, man?
Oh, can't complain. And tonight I'll let you introduce our great guest. But before you do that,
Mhm.
before I forget, anybody who's watching this or watching the recording, if you're an It Works distributor and your guy, and either if you're not in the man cave, reach out to one of us so we can get you in there. If you're not a distributor but your wife is, same deal. Reach out to one of us so we can get you in there. Group of positive guys, and we're just trying to keep it that way. So, Corey, I'll let you take it from here.
Awesome. So let me make sure that the video spotlight here is working. But hey, guys, I'm Corey, like Rob mentioned. Excited to be here today, this evening. And I want to introduce a new friend of mine. We met, what was it, maybe last month, maybe September? I think maybe
almost 2 months ago, I think.
2 months ago. Okay, gotcha. We met at the Made for More men's retreat in St. Louis, basically. It was in St. Louis. So I want to welcome my buddy Jonathan on here. Jonathan, how's it going tonight, man?
Dude, super excited. Really pumped to be here and talk.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, so let's just jump right into it, right? So, Jonathan, we do these calls once a month. We like to highlight, different men in the business. We like to give a man's perspective on things. Rob and I have both been in 5 years plus now. We can remember a time to where, me and Rob, we both thought we were like the only dudes in this business, right? But since then we've done this call to help highlight and show that there are other successful guys and to give a perspective and a vantage point from our perspective. So why don't you share a little bit about your story? Tell us how It Works found you. Tell us a little bit of, who you are, where you guys are from. Just a little intro to you, man.
Absolutely. Hey, let's first take 5 seconds and pray real quick, because I don't want the things that I say to be things that are just coming from my mouth. So real quick, Dylan, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak and hopefully impact a lot of these great guys who are using this incredible business to glorify you and support their families. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so let's see here. So my wife and I have been in for a year and a half. Our background story, I was in the Marine Corps, then went to law school and was working for a big engineer firm, and loved the people I worked with, loved the mission with that job. And my wife was in corporate wine sales, and we got married, blended 5 kids. We'd both previously been married. And when we got married, like a month after we got married, she found this business through wanting to get hair, skin, and nails after getting her hair like fried off by a girl who cut her hair in the kitchen. And next thing you know, fast forward like 4 months later, the intention was never for this to be a full-time thing or even really something that she took seriously. 4 months in, she had basically retired herself from her corporate wine sales job. And we were growing really, really fast. And our uplines, Lori and Quentin Conway, had actually flown from Missouri to outside of Charlotte, had a big team meeting with all of our people. And fast forward a year later, we're both double diamonds. And we went to conference last year. We'll get to that and the importance of conference, I think, at the end of this, which I'm really excited to talk about. And fast forward a year later, we're 18 months in. I think I've been retired now for 5 months. So I'm full-time. We're both really heavy recruiters, and we're pretty excited about the business, that's for sure.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff. So as you guys can see, you guys, you started this from a product standpoint, right? Like this wasn't about, hey, like, here's this great business opportunity that I'm going to love and I'm going to be great at. It was like, hey, listen, I got my hair done. I didn't like it. I want to grow my hair back. I found this great product. Oh, by the way, there happens to be an opportunity with that. So that's amazing. So Jonathan, tell me, what was that moment, after your wife got started? What was that moment when you saw like, hey, A, I want to be a part of this, and B, like this could really be something for me? Kind of describe, what was that? Was it a specific moment? Was it like some time passed? Just kind of give me like that thought process.
Well, we actually stumbled upon something that a lot of people already know, and we just didn't know this to be a fact. So I supported from day one what she was doing. Some guys are sort of hesitant or resisting what their wife, that wasn't me. I'm like, I was newly married. Maybe that was part of it. I was just like, hey, I want to support this woman any way that I can. And of course, I expected the same in return. So when she started doing this, she just wanted a few products and was like, And of course, the girl who recruited her was like, hey, it's only a few more dollars to join. And she was like, hey, babe, it's $10 more. She was like at $89, I think, in products. It was like, it's $99 to join. What do you think? And I was like, go for it. I mean, what's $10, right? For an opportunity? Sure, go for it. So she started doing that. And then she like recruited one of her friends and like another one of her friends, like was really casual about it. Got one of her cousins. And next thing you know, had like one, like she had 4 people. So that meant she needed her 5th one to complete a Ruby chart. And at the time, this was during the double Ruby bonuses. Right, there was a $500 Ruby bonus, and then there was a short window of doubles, so she could hit a $1,000 bonus for hitting Ruby. Well, I mean, I'm not brilliant, but I'm no dummy. And I was like, you mean to tell me? She was like, I just don't know anybody else, which is just, we hear that all the time. I just don't know anybody else, and we laugh about it now. So she was like, okay, I need one more person to fill this box, just one more person. And I was like, babe, put me there for a $99 kit. She was still getting loyal customers and stuff like crazy. So I was like, just enroll me. So I became she had put me below her as that 5th box. And so what ended up happening, I think on the very last day, so we stumbled upon that, right, which is the ability to grow 2 businesses simultaneously. And I think the last day, I mean, hear what I'm saying, man. The last day for her to hit Ruby, we were 800 volume points away and hit it by getting customers. So I don't know how many times I hear people either, like just talking about, oh, it's impossible, it's too far gone or whatever. If you buckle down and really put your nose to the grindstone, you can accomplish just about anything you want within reason, especially if you're like praying about it too. I mean, for crying out loud, we were praying for something we could do together. So that was one aspect of your question. We were praying about doing like like buying a territory and having like a Frito-Lay route where we could work together and like run and do deliveries and stuff. That seemed really cool. So we were praying for something we could do together. Meanwhile, this business is growing. And I swear Jesus is up there like giggling about it because we were like, Lord, please. We're both working like 70 hours a week, separate jobs, newly married. We'd rather be at home having those good noon or afternoons. You know what I'm saying? But instead, we're both at these day jobs. So anyway, we knew It Works was going to be the thing once we recognized what we had. And we were like, well, thank you, Lord. It's been here the whole time. That's funny how that works sometimes. And we just started growing and putting all of our efforts into it. So even though I was still working a day job, I was at every recruiting video, every like team meeting we had at the house, every sample party. I would get up and speak about what the greens were doing in my life, what I thought about the protein. Like that was still totally, even though I still had a day job, not an excuse to not still try to work as much as possible.
Absolutely, man. Awesome stuff. So, I want to kind of touch on one thing, and Rob, I'll tag you in a second, but, you mentioned, being, 800 BV away from going Ruby, right? And, hey, like that seems like, such a big thing. It's like, oh my goodness, what can I do? What can I do? And the thing that you said that I love the most is like, hey, you can accomplish anything. You set your mind to it, you can accomplish it, So I just want to specifically highlight that portion for the people that are watching this and let you know that, like, hey, there's nothing that separates us, right? Like, we're all in this business. We're all one person, one individual, right? It's not like, oh, this person can do it because they were born with special skills, and this person can do it because they live in this town and I live in that town. No, if you set your mind to it, you'll be able to do it, right? My wife has a story where I don't remember what promotion it was exactly. Maybe it was Double Diamond or something, and she was like 4,000, away from hitting that, and she got that done within like the last week or last few days. From my own personal story, when I went presidential, I can remember I gave up 3 days before the month was out. I had a hoodie on my head, and I pulled the strings real tight, so it was just like this, and I was sitting on the couch pallet, and I was like, man, like, I'm not going to be able to get there in the last 3 days. And I remember, we had a couple of our teammates over, and my wife and a couple of my teammates, like, they yelled at me. It was like, Corey, go back upstairs, get back to it, get the chart, and you can do it. And literally the last diamond that I needed for that promotion was miles away from being diamond at 8 a.m. that day, and made it by 10 p.m. that night.
That's awesome.
Anything that you set your mind to, you can accomplish, right? Like, use us as those examples to show you that, hey, yes, it can be done. With a little bit of hard work, a little bit of faith, you can definitely make those things happen. Rob, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. There's a lot of great stuff in there, but a couple things. One, just like Jonathan, think about how many more people are out there like Jonathan and his wife that they're praying for a miracle. Some aren't even praying for a miracle anymore. They've given up. They're losing faith, and they're just saying to themselves, "I guess this is all life has for me." So I think it's important to just realize that either one, by already being in this business, or two, after seeing this and jumping into the business, you need to realize that you can help other people. And by helping other people, you will achieve everything that you would like to achieve for you and your family. But it starts with taking the best interest in someone else in their family or someone else in their life. The other thing is, bottom line is, who are you surrounding yourself with? You know, I'm on a Zoom with positive people who believe that they can do anything that they put their mind to. But oftentimes we're working with, we're friends with, we're related to people who carry around generational curses who, poverty is all they've ever known, or struggling just to get by, and they've accepted that. And they don't know about the life-changing things that It Works offers. And my wife and I, we were those people, on food stamps, struggling, me working my tail off, just, very frustrated, until It Works came into our life. And I believe that some of the strongest people are going to start as customers, because once it changes your life, can't anyone tell you different. And that's what happened to my wife. She tried the product, could button pants she couldn't button. The night before, made a Facebook post. Everything went nuts. Knocks at the door to buy the product. People saying, order me one, order me two. And the thing is, we were broke, so she was smart enough to say, well, if I can pre-sell some of this stuff and people are willing to drop me off their money, I can go ahead and start a business. And that's what we did. And the kit was $199 at that time. It's $99 today. But she did that, and she never looked back. I was still skeptical, but she changed both of our lives. And I think it's just that willpower to try and to step out and do something different.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So to kind of segue to that a little bit, let's kind of talk about some business tips, right? So Jonathan, I know you were talking to me about, I think one of your strongest attributes in business is actually going to be your problem solving skills, right? So let me set you up real quick and I'll have you tackle that. So, so he's like, I'm ready, right? So in business, it's not going to always be smooth, right? You're not just going to like open up business one day, sign up, get your kit, and then, everything's going to be like roses and buttercups, right? Like, no, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, you have to fight to be successful. You have to fight to make your dreams become reality, right? People aren't going to give it to you just because you're you. That's not a good enough excuse. So one thing that you need to master to be successful in business and also successful in life is problem solving. Right? Being able to think abstractly, being able to, not allow a hurdle in your way to completely stop and impede your entire process and progress. So, Jonathan, talk to me a little bit about some of your gifts as far as problem solving goes. And
all right. So
I'm sorry, not to cut you off. And how that can relate to us guys in the business.
So one of the best things ever is not just diagnosing problems in your own business. It's also being able to recognize and identify the problems in other people's businesses, right? Because let's think about it. When people get out of this business, it's going to be because they weren't successful, right? Nobody quits on like the rise when they're just making more money than they've ever made and the business is changing their lives and they're able to afford to travel and do all this stuff. Nobody just bails like that, right? But when people feel like they're spinning their wheels, when people feel like they've just been doing the same thing over and over and for some reason it's not working, if we can help them diagnose their problem and achieve success, that's like half the game, right? That's like half of the mission. So we were driving to Nashville boot camp like a month ago or something, and we had some of our teammates there. One of my diamonds was coming to meet us. It was like really, really, really an exciting time. And all of a sudden, we're like in traffic and bam, like the Lord just laid something on my heart. I was driving and I was thinking to myself, really, what is it that we are doing? Like, because we talk a lot about steps to success, right? the 3 distributors, the 4 loyal customers. It should be everybody's goal to be moving forward consistently with the business. But really, we talk about that and we tell people like, all right, so you joined and this is what you need to do, but what's the bridge that gets you across, right? What's the thing that makes that leap? So I start brainstorming and I started I set my phone up on my little GPS holder and I started recording this video and explaining my thoughts. And as each time it would develop or, as it unfolded in my mind, I kept deleting that and recording a new one and amending it until amending it until I was absolutely sure of what I had. So here's the idea. There are 4 steps to actually achieving success in this business. And I feel like everybody that is struggling is going to fall down on one of these steps. And most people, if you explain what the steps are, they'll recognize exactly where they're at. You're problem solving for them. And then once you recognize where they're struggling, you can move on to capturing and moving on with success. All right. So here they are. Number 1, the first step. Now, also number 1, but I'm going to back up for 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. Everybody who is really successful and Handsome Rob and Smooth Corey, they're going to agree with this. All right. Everybody who is successful, they do all 4 of these things every single day. Okay. Step number 1, you're gathering people that you want to talk to. Obviously, that's your hundreds list, right? That's the waiter, the bartender, the person at the checkout, the people that you blitz. You're gathering and writing them down, the people that you want to talk to about this business, whether it's about products or about the business opportunity. Okay. Number 1, you have gathered and written down those names, but that alone isn't going to get you any business. Step number 2, you have to reach out and engage these people in conversation. Now, I'm not talking about the business yet. I'm talking about actually getting a dialogue going. It could be somebody from school. It could be somebody from undergrad. It could be somebody from when you were in the military. It could be somebody from, that church you used to go to that one day you were like, man, who has a great personality I think would be good at this? Write their name down. Well, step number 2, you have to reach out and talk to them in some sort of organic way to where they're not going to freak out and be like, what in the world are you talking to me for, right? Step number 2, you have to bridge the gap between the name and actually talking to them and getting a dialogue going. This is not a cold message. This is actually talking to them and getting a conversation started. Step number 3 is whatever point you can bring up the business comes up. Now, my good friend Anthony Rodriguez, he says there's 4 or 5, depending on how you look at it. In any conversation, you can bring up those 5 things. Everybody wants to be happier, have more energy, be healthier, live longer, or make money. Okay? So 4 or 5 things. Any conversation, at some point, the business can come up. That's number 3, is when you actually tell somebody what you do. That might be bringing up It Works could be the point where you say, well, what do you do? And they tell you whatever it is that they do. And then they ask you what you do. Boom. It Works has come up in conversation. All right. Whether it's about your products, whether it's about their health goals, whatever, this business has come up in that conversation. And then step number 4 is actually asking them to join your team or try a product or be a product tester or do a 90-day challenge or whatever. Those are the 4 steps. And everybody who's struggling is falling down somewhere. I mean, I talk to people all the time. They have 500s lists, but they're not actually reaching out. They're like, I just don't know how to talk to these people. I don't know how to get people started. Or they're stuck at 2. They're talking to hundreds of people for months, and they're chatty everybody. But at no point, they're like, well, I'm afraid if I bring up It Works, the person's going to feel duped, and they're going to be like, they're going to run away screaming. Okay, right? Or I've got people all the time who can bring up It Works, can talk about it organically, can talk about how great it is. I'm getting heated up now. It's like going to church. They're talking about the business, how much they love it, all the great experiences, the people they've met, the relationships. I mean, you name it, how amazing Mark Pentecost is. Come on, can we not talk about him for days? Right? All these things, but they're afraid of offending people or scaring people away. And here's the thing that I'm going to tell you that is absolutely imperative for the step 4, because a lot of people really struggle right here, getting from 3 to 4, 3 to 4. You have to get to 4, and here's the important thing. If you're a believer and you believe that Jesus brought this business to you and that this business is a business of integrity and that we're not smoke and mirrors and we're not selling snake oil, right? The products are amazing. You know them, you love them, you believe in them. If you're already there and you believe that God gave you this business to help support your family, then it is your job to be successful at it. And the only way you can do that is by asking people to join you. You have to ask. Don't feel bad. Don't feel embarrassed about it. Let's face it, no matter how you cut it, we are all in sales. Okay. So yeah, being handsome, that's great. Being smooth, impeccably well dressed, whatever it is, having like the best beard line, whatever that thing is that makes you unique, take it and run with it. But you have absolutely got to ask people to join you, because a lot of people will never, ever, ever, ever join you or try anything unless they are asked. And it is your job to ask. That's part of what sales is. You've got to do it. And if you believe the business is awesome and you believe God brought this to you, your job is to be obedient to the Lord. It'd be like, you're at a restaurant and you're just not selling food. People are just walking by and you're waiting for them to walk up. I mean, you got to say, hey, would you like to try something? Would you guys like to come into my restaurant? I mean, come on. That's what we're here for.
Great stuff, man. I think the biggest thing, all four of those steps are huge pillars in their own right. But the one that I'll kind of harp on a little bit is that fourth one, right? Because a lot of people, they struggle with the ask. And, that's always kind of beneath me a little bit why people struggle with the ask, because there's only two results you can get. Well, technically three, right? Yes, no, or no, not right now. That's it, right? And the crazy thing about it is people feel like hearing no is going to kill them, right? Hearing no is going to be like earth-shattering. The one thing that I'll add to that, and Rob, I'll tag you in, is we've been hearing no our entire lives, right? For you guys that are watching this, for my co-host here, if you have kids, you tell your kids no 1,000 times. No, don't touch that. No, don't do this. No, you can't have this yet. It's part of growing up and the process. So we are well capable of hearing and accepting the answer no. And the beautiful thing is you're going to get, it's called the law of averages, right? 10% of people are going to say yes no matter what it is. 10% will say no, and the other 80% you have to persuade. So when you look at those three answers that you can get, you're going to get some yeses, you're going to get some no's, but you're going to get a lot more people that say no, not right now. And no, not right now doesn't mean no forever. No, not right now may mean, hey, maybe tomorrow I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it in 5 minutes. Or maybe I need for you to, bring this up to me again. Or maybe I need to watch you, get more results, or whatever that thing is, right? So just know and understand that the no word is not going to be, the end all be all, right? And I see you got your hand up, John. I'm going to tag you back in a second. And the one thing that I'll say to you is this. If you actually think about how much each no costs, right? Like how much money you're going to make on each no. So here's an example, right? I'm kind of bushing this up a little bit, but Katrina brought this up at our One Team One Mission. And basically what she was saying is, let's say that you have 10 people, right, that you're going to ask about this opportunity. At some point, that 10 people, like if you do something enough, an average will appear, right? The law of averages I spoke about. So that 10th person or that 9th person may be that person that adds a 5-figure boost to your income, right? So if that's the case, let's just use easy numbers, right? Let's just say $1,000. That means that each no is worth $100 to you, because when you get that 9th or that 10th person that's going to help your business grow exponentially, help your life grow and evolve, you will be running to get the no. Imagine if every no you got gave you $100 and got you closer to that person that was going to, take things to a whole nother level with you, you would look at no's very differently. So think about it from that perspective. Think about it from the perspective that a lot of the times it may be no, not right now, and that's not a no forever. And also, we are well equipped with being able to be told no, because we've heard it the entire time we've grown up. So it's not going to kill you. Did you want to add something to that, John?
Yeah, so we're talking about problem solving and figuring out where you're falling down. Let's think about it more from a production standpoint. Imagine you took your entire hundreds list and out to the side of it, you put whatever stage that person was at. They're automatically at least a 1 when they're on your hundreds list. But then to the next part of it, if you haven't talked to them or engaged them in any conversation, that's your mission today, is take 10 people on that list and get them to 2. Get them talking in some way. Then the next day or you could almost power hour this, right? So for the next hour, I'm going to take 10 of my 2s and I'm going to bring up the business to these people that I'm already having organic conversations with. And maybe the next hour, I'm going to take 10 of those people that are already 3s that I've already been talking to. I've already brought up the business to them. You know what? I'm going to take that leap of faith and I'm going to ask them. You've already got them numbered out. So you could just highlight the 10 you're about to move from 3 to 4. And go get that done, right? It's a real easy way to say, you know what? Every day I can take 10 people from 3 to 4. I've built these relationships. I've cultivated. I've brought the business up. And now I'm going to ask for some element of commitment from them. That is really, truly being productive with your time. And if you think about it in organizing your structure, you can say, okay, well, I really need loyal customers today. All right, well, go look at all your threes and figure out who your loyal customer prospects were. Or look at all the people who are four who are you're not right now, so those third answer. Look at all those fours and then be like, hey, it might be a week later. Let me follow up with them again. It might be 4 days later. It might be Friday or whatever. There's a new promotional. You automatically know all those fours, because if they're not marked out yet and you've actually signed them as an LC or a DT, then go back to them and follow up. You know what I'm saying? It's a really great way to organize your production.
Awesome, awesome. Rob, you want to add to that?
The main thing I would just add to all of that is just take you giving up off the table. No matter you have to promise yourself that no matter what happens, you're gonna see this through. And I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so that's kind of how I was raised with everything, playing sports, just everything I got to experience. And I would say that look at it from a childlike perspective. Because of It Works, I had the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. My wife took me to Vegas for my birthday, and I got to hang out with my favorite motivational speaker, Les Brown. And he always tells the story about how him and his son were playing Connect Four or some game like that, and he kept beating his son at it, and his son was just like, and it was coming up on his son's bedtime, and his son was like, nope. I'm losing right now. It's not over until I win. We can't stop until I win. When his son won one game, he said, all right, Dad, I'm going to bed. Good night. And he was like, what about me trying to get my game back? And nope, I'm done. So you have to have that mentality that it's not over until you win. And, after she had started the business and I decided to jump on board, you have to surround yourself with people who are unreasonable in a good way. I told her, okay, I'm going to put my $99 in, but I want $99 million back. And until I do get that, I won't stop. And that was just my mentality. So good day, bad day, hey, I ain't get my $99 million back. I got to keep going.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So I'll use that as a jumping off point here before we wrap up. So it's that time of year again, right? Conference has been announced. Conference 2018, I almost said 2017, 2018 is coming up. We're back at the Amalie, or as I like to call it, the Family Center. So I'm going to share my story, and then I also want to hear from you guys why, conference is a thing that you cannot miss, right? So I'll kind of give my story, my perspective. I am not a, rah-rah kind of guy. You're not going to see me like outwardly demonstrative, like, yeah, that's just not my personality, right? But conference is like one of those things that will bring that out of me. So here's the reason why you cannot afford to miss conference, okay? First of all, the more people you put on your team in that building at conference, the bigger that your business will grow. Here is something that happened. So last year for conference, we were sitting on the couch, and I was like, Treese, I said, we're going to get 100 people to conference, right? And you got to understand, maybe the year before, maybe we had like 30 or something like that. I was like, no. We're getting 100 people to conference this year. And we set out on a mission. And that mission wasn't to, convince people to buy tickets. It was like, hey, this is why you can't afford to miss this, right? And we accomplished our goal. We got 100 people there. Our business grew in the short period after conference. Let's just say like the 90-day window after conference. Our business tripled. And I am saying this without exaggeration. Our business tripled in the 90-day spurt after conference. And I can directly attribute that to how we got our cups filled at conference, how we felt there, how we got energized, how we got pumped up, how we got excited, and also how we were able to duplicate that, within our team with having those butts in those seats. So you cannot afford to miss conference, because what I can tell you is this: whatever you're making now, whether you're making $1 or $100,000, everybody will love the opportunity to get that tripled. Okay, like it changes everything for you. So, Cammie says, if you're not getting married, burying someone, or having a kid, you need to be at conference. That's my my words of wisdom to you. I will jump to you, Jonathan, then I'll jump to you, Rob. Share a conference story. Let us know why it's important to get there, and let us know why you won't miss it.
Absolutely. So last year, my wife and I went as a diamond and an emerald, and we'd been in for less than a year. And we went, and we were hyped. Yeah, we had a bunch of people. We like carpooled down there in my Acura. Like, it was like, I mean, I swear, when you're about to do something big, the devil swoops in and is just like, hey, I'm going to mess this up for you. That plan was great, and I'm sure the Lord is going to use that for his glory, but let me just see if I can throw all sorts of wrenches in the spokes of your bike. And you're like, oh, my goodness. Well, we got ourselves down there, and I was still working my day job, and we were, like, really struggling. And we got down. We had bought our tickets, and we were like, we just can't do this. And our upline told us, like, you cannot afford to miss. So I was like, oh, my gosh. So we get down there. We'd already had, like, teammates there. We were splitting an Airbnb. We were, like, crashing everybody on the floor. Like, whatever works, we're making this happen. And we're getting as many people as possible down there. And we are literally, like, standing in the arena. And we were like, oh, my gosh. Like, we had got ourselves down there. We were, like, seriously, like, strapped. I was like, oh, my gosh, how are we going to feed ourselves? How are we going to drive to get back? Like, I mean, hope the team is, like, going to throw in on gas. Like, we were struck. And boom, we get a notification. We had $500 in FSQs hit. And I was like, okay, we prayed for this business. You brought it to us. Going to this conference is part of our work. And we were, like, seriously struggling with that whole thing. And, like, God absolutely provided. Now, I'm not one to challenge God and be like, okay, I demand a miracle. All right, that sounds like a good way to get yourself stranded in Florida. But my point is, we went down there on faith, and, like, we came back, and my wife promoted, I promoted, and then I quit my day. I put in my 2-week notice at work, and by May, so from, like, February, whatever conference was, March, can't remember, whatever it was, till May, we had both hit double diamond, and we had earned $55,000 in bonuses. That is what conference is. Conference will take your business, if you're afraid to talk to people about it, if you're not investing enough time, if you're not committed to it, if you're like afraid of the dream, or if you're afraid of to dream too big, or if you're like, man, I could never be an ambassador, I could never be in the Millionaires Club, conference is going to remove that, because you're going to see just about every person in this business who has accomplished the things I just said, and they are just normal people. They might not be as handsome as Rob, or as smooth as Corey, or as well-dressed as Jonathan Garrigues, but I'm telling you, these are just normal, everyday people who have worked this for a while, stuck with it, and it will work for you, especially if you seek out people. I mean, that's the reason that Corey and I became friends at the men's retreat, is because I wasn't satisfied with just going and having my spiritual cup fed. I really wanted to learn about my business, and I'll tell you, there were 3 dudes in particular that I just, like, got pages and pages of notes and came back and just set the torch of fire on my team from the men's retreat. That is what conference will do to you. This one just happened to be gender stratified. So anyway, incredible. Conference is going to be legendary. And did you see, I feel like I sound like Mike Rotella when I get excited. Did we see the freaking man bags that they're giving out? Yeah. Come on. It's right. Even got that It Works. The strap thing is that same thing off my favorite shirt that my wife has, where her back hangs out and it's so sexy and it says it works right down the middle. Can I, amen, married husband? Anyway, all right, somebody jump in there. That's what I'm talking about. It's got to be a conference.
I mean, just conference is going to take you away from the everyday ills and the things that you're going through. Just like Jonathan was just describing about, how they were struggling, they were bogged down, they felt overwhelmed. It's just like, it's really no different than if you struggle through the week and you hit that church service on Sunday and you leave feeling so uplifted. You feel like your tank is just filled and you can take on anything. And you also look to the left and the right and you see other people in the pews, and you may not know what they're going through, but you can just feel it. You can feel, that I can't even explain it, but that's what conference is about. You get to relate to real people just like you, who struggle to make it down there. And I also wanted to add this important thing that Corey and I were talking about earlier today. Let's say you're newer in the business, or you're just about to join the business, and from a man's perspective, if you can't understand, your wife, significant other, girlfriend, whatever, going to this, the best advice I can give you is just let them go. And when they come back, you're going to see a whole different person. That energy is contagious. You will feel it, but don't stop them. You may not be able to even understand, what they have to sacrifice and invest to go, but I advise you to let them go, because it's going to change your life too. And that's exactly what happened to me earlier on. I never stopped her, but I couldn't understand it sometimes. So I just stepped back, and I kept doing the definition of insanity in the meantime, the same thing over and over again every day, expecting something different, but not taking the proper steps to change anything. And she did that, and it changed both of our lives. And once I fully got involved, everything changed. But the way that my mind fully changed is we got on a flight, we went down to Florida. This was when the company was smaller. We were taking a tour of the corporate office, and she said, the secretary said, "Okay, Mr. Pentecost, see you now." And she heard me say, "No, you go. I don't want to see him. He doesn't. I don't feel like he can relate to our struggles," or whatever I had said at the time. And the secretary turned around and said, "Oh no, he definitely wants to see you." And we went in that office, and I shook his hand, and I wanted to run out of there. And my wife took a moment and said, "Mark, he loves the products, but he feels like this business is for women." Because granted, at the time, there weren't many men. And he started squeezing my hand to the point he really got my attention. And he pulled my hand closer to him. And he said, "You're not leaving this office till we get you on board. And, you're not leaving Florida until we get you." He said, "You see that golf course you were on last night? I paid a few million cash for that. That's just a hobby." And that really resonated with me. It's funny how God works, because, it just was the right thing to say at the right time that really fit my personality. And I said, man, if he's doing that for just his hobbies, imagine what a blessing it would be to be able to live like that and to be a blessing to others. So I wouldn't have had that experience if I didn't jump on the plane and go down to Florida.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. So, guys, that's going to wrap up our October edition of our Man Show call. So, a few house cleaning things really quick, right? So, we're coming back. Next Man Show call is going to be November the 15th. We do them every third Wednesday of the month. So, mark your calendars. We're going to put that out. It's going to be November the 15th. Get you guys conference tickets. Take advantage of the 99-hour sale. It's nothing like a good early bird price. It's nothing like a sweet tote bag to get with it as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook. If you're not a part of the Man Cave, send a message to myself, send a message to Rob. We'll make sure that we get you added in there. We're going to post this video on YouTube within a few hours. It's on my Facebook right now. You can feel free to share it there. If you have guys that are either A, looking to get into this business, B, already in this business, or anything in between, definitely send them this way. Have them listen to this. It's going to be some really helpful things for them to be able to just win in life and win in a business, right? And that's why we do this. So without further ado, Rob, I appreciate you as always, brother. Jonathan, thanks a million for hopping on with us this evening. And
absolutely, thank
you. See you guys all next month on the 15th. So take care, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.